And welcome back to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game European Championships live from Antwerp. It's an absolute pleasure to be back. We've just seen round 4 with a clutch victory for Luca Forian with a Nibiru and a Psychic Life Transfer in the final moments of time. It was genuinely a very, very exciting round. But we move swiftly on to round 5, which features Anze Beljan and also Dinh-Kha Bui, who has topped YCS Dusseldorf, first place in YCS Milan in 2018, second place in Utrecht, and top 64 in the Euros in 2018. This is going to be a very, very exciting game for round 5. So guys, I will give you guys the ceremonial dice to roll. Who would like to roll first? Ah, politeness. This is wonderful to see. Okay, they're going for the high roll right now. Not looking good. Beginner's luck. Okay, who's going to be going first? Okay, Anze is going first. Gentlemen, good luck. I'm going to hand you guys over to our wonderful team who are going to be giving you guys the play-by-play. Guys, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ed, and also welcome back from our side. We have such a great featured match here. Everybody in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community basically knows who Dinh-Kha Bui is, because Ed talked about his successes. He just basically tops every event he's entering, and also like in 1 year he had that insane story of winning a YCS, getting second place at a YCS, and being in the semifinals of a YCS. Imagine, like, he's basically the only one, I think, who ever did that. It's like a crazy story in general.
Yeah, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 for him.
Absolutely, and now even better, he's always playing Rogue. He's not playing the best deck or the second best deck. And Leo, I know you're super excited about the deck he's playing, so please tell us what he's playing.
Yeah, absolutely. He is going for the Mathmech strategy. And I said earlier that I have a favorite deck this format, and I think that something else is going to win. It's not going to be Sprites, and it's not going to be Tearlaments. I think that Mathmech has the power, the sheer power to take this down.
Yeah, talking about power of the Elements obviously brought an insane
very good,
support card for this deck. Mathmech Circular being a 1-card starter for every combo you want to see in this deck. And I would say, let's try to find out whether he finds these 1-card combos in this featured match. The players are ready, so let's get over to the table and let's get this featured match in round 5 starting. What do you expect here? We saw that actually Dinh-Kha Bui lost the die roll to, of course, Anze Beljan on the other hand, with also a 4-0 record, so we have to talk about him as well. So Anze is going to be the one introducing his deck first, and it's a deck that can go first pretty well, I want to say, because it actually is the Tearlaments deck.
Yeah, and this is a difficult matchup for Mathmech.
Absolutely.
Not gonna lie, the biggest power play of Mathmech is, of course, resolving Superfactorial to summon Laplacian. And Laplacian sends a card from hand and a card from the field to the graveyard. And I mean, if you ditch a Tearlaments card from hand, then it's just going to trigger immediately, and then you can pop off. You just helped your opponent. So there are ways around that, but I did not see, looking at K's deck list, that he's playing cards like Skullmasters who can search it with Alan Berschen. And also, he's not going first, so this is going to be really difficult for him.
It's a very big disadvantage, so he will be relying on the hand traps he's about to draw, and maybe did draw in his opening hand. We counted them through. He has a total of 14 hand traps in his main deck, and actually he is playing some that are very good versus the tier matchup. He's actually playing the DD Crows, which can just deny the effect activations, or like, they cannot deny the activations, but they won't be able to resolve in the end. And also there's Ghost Spell, which is actually denying the activation in that case. So both hand traps are both very good versus this deck, but we see that Anze is already resolving his first fusion effect. There already is a Kid Kalos on the field, so he gets going here. Infinite Impermanence on that Kid Kalos would be kind of handy, and Dinh-Kha Bui went with 3 Impermanence as well, but it's not coming here.
Yeah, he's also rocking this one stylish effect Veiler just to bridge with Small World, a card that has been seeing a lot of play since its release. And again, like in those decks where you are looking for this one card, this one Mathmech Circular, Small World is just a must.
Yeah, I feel like Small World wasn't really as popular back in the day. Like, since its release, it never had like the deck where it was insanely good in. But I think now in this Mathmech deck, everybody pretty much came to the conclusion that it's needed for the deck, because you want to see the Circular as often as possible. We talked about the Circular being the new card for the deck, being the everything for the deck basically, because if you could have written a Mathmech support card basically, you would have written Mathmech Circular. Like, this card does so much for the deck, actually. I hope we will see it again. Maybe bring it up on the screen so we can already have a look so people can see what the card is about. And yeah, it has multiple effects. It really does everything the deck needed. But look at that. Anze actually just made Kid Carlos and then set 4 and passes it over to Dinh-Kha Bui.
Searched Meta Noise, so we got that going for him. He can probably fusion someone on the opponent's turn. Mathmech is really good at playing around trap cards because they have easy access to Lingeribo, which just tributes itself and then banishes the card after negating it. So that's an easy way around that. But with 4 set cards, this is... I don't know if this is enough.
We talked about Tearlaments being a combo deck, and now he just sits there on 1 Kid Carlos and 4 back row. And there is Signet Mining, discard Parallel Exceed. What's the response from Anze?
So we can also see Salik.
Yeah, I just wanted to check, what are the cards that could be there? Like, there's Caught by the Grave, of course, in his list. There is Salik, as you said. And then, of course, Super Polymerization. Do you think he has a target in his extra deck to actually work Super Polymerization?
Yeah. Garua
of course.
really hurts the deck. But does he have the... He has a card in hand, right?
He should have one in hand, yeah. No, wait. I mean, he's raising his hands. It looks like no cards in hand.
He normal summoned the Rhino Heart and set 5, but the Rhino Heart just basically replaced itself with Kid Carlos, and he searched one of the cards, so he had 6 cards in play.
Should have been.
4 cards.
So there must be a card in hand. And now we talked about it. There is the Mathmech Circular, and it's activating its first effect, sending from the deck to the graveyard as cost, and then special summoning itself.
Yeah, and you can send Mathmech Sigma as cost. And this is so insane because you can just special summon it from the graveyard if you don't have a monster in the extra monster zone, and immediately then Circular triggers.
If you have Meta Noise there, would you go for a preemptive Meta Noise here to just book one of the 2 monsters?
I think that's actually a rather good idea.
Maybe he should have even done it before he could even summon the Sigma, right? Because now the Circular is going to trigger.
Now the Circular has done everything it wanted to. So it special summoned itself, ditched the Sigma. Of course, you can't prevent it from ditching the Sigma. And now he can get the Surge. So he's playing 1 Super Factorial, 1 Equation, which is arguably better going second because it's just basically a monster reborn.
Yes.
And he also plays the Induction.
Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting, right? Because I didn't see that card a whole lot in the Mathmech list I saw. But he actually made the decision to play it.
Super Polymerization.
Oh, there is a Super Poly. So that's why he didn't go with the Meta Noise.
And the Sigma is banished. It's kind of this Plague Spreader-ish effect that when you summon it back from the graveyard, it gets banished immediately when it leaves the field. So many cards that summon themselves from the graveyard have that, and Sigma is no different.
I mean,
also a tuner, by the way.
True, you could go Synchro Roots there. Let's check whether he's actually playing Synchros in his extra deck. He's not, though, no.
Dinh-Kha is still not done, so he discarded the Parallel Exceeds, which I found quite interesting because it is a great extender. He might have 2 in hand, so if he summons Addition and Addition is not getting responded on with like a Meta Noise or something, he might just link into Lingeribo and then trigger Parallel Exceeds, and maybe then he can find a route to out the board.
Yeah, but
oh, it's just okay for him. So Lingeribo into Parallel Exceeds.
Interesting, that seems
what I'm
good.
seeing here.
Dinh-Kha Bui goes for the Lingeribo. You realize next to me, Lennart König, being a real Mathmech expert, he was going on my nerves for the last 2 weeks already, non-stop talking Mathmech, and I understand why. It's a really, really cool deck. I like it a lot as well now. You convinced me that it's a really good deck, and I mean, we're seeing it here in action. It might be able to play through this Tearlaments board.
This makes me really happy. Also, I have to say, these sleeves that Anze is rocking are amazing. Look at the color.
They're really shining through, for sure.
Great. I love it.
Absolutely. So, in hindsight, do you agree on the route that Anze took? Because he decided to go with his Super Poly first, and he still has his Meta Noise effect ready to be used. But if you would have just used the Meta Noise first, there would have not even been a way really to search for additional extenders and so on. So it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that you want to use this Super Polymerization, I guess, early, because otherwise the Meta Noise can be negated with Lingeribo fast, and you want to have 2 light monsters that are Cybers on the field.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And now there finally is some Meta Noise that we were talking about for so long, and he is, of course, targeting one of the Parallel Exceeds there. now Dinh-Kha Bui has to make the decision. Am I negating this with Link or Rebo? There are two more set cards, and one of them could very easily be called by the grave, because there is not much more back row that's possible there.
But you always negate that.
Yes.
You always negate that, and it should be banished. It is.
It's even better, because that means it doesn't trigger in the graveyard.
Yeah. So now there are just 2 parallel exceeds waiting, and he even has 2 more cards in hand that we don't know anything of.
I think one of them we do know, because one of them is the equation, right?
Oh, right. Oh, that's actually a really good card.
Actually pretty good, yeah.
So
he can go for a lot of OTK. And I mean, we know our cyber stacks. There's always a route to success with these, because there is that super big cybers monster. The ultimative access code talker is always a route you can go for.
So he now goes into Wicked, and Wicked is a really strong and diverse card. It basically can't be destroyed at all. Can't be destroyed by battle, can't be destroyed by card effects. You can just basically unicorn it away, or you can target it, so there are effect negations, of course.
And now comes his second effect as well. Yeah, go ahead.
If a monster is summoned to a zone which Wicked points to, then you can just banish a Cybers monster from the GY, and you can search a tube. Wow, he did not Okay, he didn't use it on Lingeribo. Still fine.
This is still pretty strong, though.
Yeah, so he banished the Circular. If there is a monster summoned to the Wicked zone, he can banish a Cybers monster from the GY and search for a Cybers tuner, which would be Mathmech Diameter.
Most likely, yeah. He hasn't normal summoned yet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There was no normal summon yet.
Everything without a normal summon. And normal summon edition.
He does still have a normal summon. Look, Anze is actually touching his hat. He doesn't really know whether he's able to stop that there. Normal summon edition, and that means the Cybers Wicked. Is it triggering on a normal summon? Let's check the card again.
No, it's special summon.
Ah, but I mean...
And he already used the edition. If he had addition and subtraction, that would have been so much better.
You're right, you're right.
But now
he does have a way into Link summoning it. There we go, Army Rush. Army Rush will be able to trigger the Cybers Wicked, giving him an additional surge there.
And if you negate it now, I mean, you negate it and then you fusion summon, I guess, if you use Sully here.
You gotta use Sully at some point, and I think you probably have to do it now.
It's here. It's definitely here, because otherwise he can just go Transcode Talker and blow up the entire field.
And where is the Diameter?
He doesn't use it here, so he uses Diameter now. He searches for Diameter, but he normal summons.
Yeah, the thing is he cannot normal summon this anymore, that's right.
Okay, so, and he is locked into Cybers monsters at this point. I don't even know if he plays the IP package, to be honest. Can you look that up for me?
Let me see. He is playing the IP package, yes.
Yes.
And there we
go. But he
go.
doesn't play the devotee package.
There is the Link summon for Heat Soul.
Yeah.
That is just giving him more resources. We used to see this card in Salamangreat a lot, because there it was very, very easy to make. But same goes for Mathmech, basically. All the Cyber stacks really being able to abuse this, and let's look into Heat Soul again, because we haven't seen Heat Soul for a while on screen, so maybe let's highlight it.
Absolutely.
And there comes the Salik, of course, but Heat Soul, in theory, is able to just pay 1,000 life points, get you a draw, and it's a quick effect, so that means you could even do it on your opponent's turn again. So this card basically secures you 2 draws. And
did he not hit a name?
I think he didn't hit a name at all.
Oh wait, what's the first card a name?
I mean, he puts them to the graveyard, so I don't think he's triggering anything here. Let's double check. He's also double checking, of course. Would be a bad timing to miss out.
This looks like a name for me, I think.
It's a little bit of a glare, but it could be
like
Hafness. It could be Hafness, you're right. And it would be so important for Anze here in this spot to hit a name there.
Also, he milled King of the Swamp, so he can actually summon really powerful cards here.
Yeah, King of the Swamp making the comeback, actually being able to replace any fusion material that is specifically listed on the card.
Yeah, but he just goes for Dragon Stabilia.
Looks like it, yeah. But I mean, the Heat Soul effect was probably being used already, right?
It has been negated by Sully.
Oh yeah, of course, you're right. Okay. But no, he goes for
another Kid Colors.
Kid Colors once more.
So he actually thinks that there's nothing more to come. And he's probably right. I mean, if he had subtraction, he would have used it, right? He would have used it under the Wicked, so he can search for the Diameter.
Is there any more extenders that he could fear even? I think there's nothing that really could be there, right? I mean, looking through his list, Sigma was already being used. We agree on subtraction probably not being there. Then, of course, the addition was already being used. Circular even was called by it now. And we're milling again. And I think there's a Shiren, right?
It's going to be Kaleido Heart. Oh, wait. Does he even have Rhino Heart?
Wait, he's fusion summoning already. He is going Kaleido.
He can use King of the Swamp instead of
Kaleido. Of course. And there is the Kaleido Heart.
Really strong.
Dinh-Kha Bui double-checking the graveyard of Anze, but it looks like Dinh-Kha Bui was doing a whole lot of efforts, but in the end, Anze seems like he would be able to shut everything down. Now, finally dropping the Kaleido Heart, and that means Anze Beljan is taking game 1 here in our round 5 featured match over the big name Dinh-Kha Bui, so maybe we are ready for an upset here.
Yeah, super polymerization, and both traps are maybe a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, set 4 is impressive for every deck, right?
Yeah.
When you see 4 back row you have to face, it's definitely a problem you have to deal with, and he worked through them one by one, but then the last interruption, the Salik was one too much. He was very close. Actually, in between I thought he's actually going to pull it off, going second with Mathmech, just playing through 4 back rows, which would have been insane, but in the end he fell a little bit short. So let's look into the sideboards. What is here that could help him there? And looking at Dinh-Kha Bui's side deck, going first, there's not that much, to be honest, if I'm looking correctly. Like, going first, I think he's not actually boarding a single card, is he?
No, actually not. He's just playing the standard board breaker cards. Dark Ruler no more. Ultimate Slayer, which I think we haven't
not seen at
yet.
all. No,
maybe
no.
Marcello and Alberto. I have seen them put the card up on stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's playing those. He's playing Evenleys, Lightning Storms, Twin Twisters.
All the going second cards.
Yeah.
So his main deck is already prepared for going second with a lot of hand traps, and he just has the approach of throwing in even more going second cards from his side deck.
But the deck is so crazy going first.
You're right. I mean, the Super Factorial is already like a pretty good card, so you don't really need to replace it with anything, I guess. It works pretty well. But let's see then for our winner of game 1, for Anze, what he has ready in his side deck. Going second, of course, here. He actually decided to play Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. And do you think he found the space to, to have a target for the Mathmech matchup specifically for that? Pretty unlikely, right?
It's Lingerivo in the side deck.
It's obviously Lingerivo, yeah. It has to be Lingerivo. Very, very obviously. But no, besides that, we see Red Reboot, which is, of course, a card that can hurt really heavily. And besides that, we see Nibiru on top of that, which is also pretty good in the Mathmech matchup, not gonna lie. You are always saying it's not that good because we can play around it, we will have a negate through our, what's the normal summon again?
Diameter.
Yeah,
I'm actually really referring to Mathmech players as we. I'm not even lying.
We are a big family, and by now I'm part of it. And of course, Dinh-Kha Bui is one of the leaders of the family, as you can see. And we hope that he's going to be able to now pull off some big Mathmech combos turn 1. And we're expecting it really from him, right? Because he's like one of the best to ever be in our Yu-Gi-Oh! Sports. So hopefully he's showing us something. Also, there's Galaxy Cyclones in the side deck of Anze, which is also like not too bad because you can just bait out the trap.
You can just bait it out. I mean,
seems
I guess
reasonable.
On an empty board, I think Loplation is even better.
Yeah.
you can at least hope that you're not hitting a Tearlaments card. If you hit it, then you still can just negate it.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad. You just don't really want to send a monster from the field. But you don't even have to with the pass anyways.
Yeah.
You can just gamble to hit a spell or trap.
But honestly, the Tearlaments deck, now once again, we've had it in the featured match area quite a bit. Going first, going second, it seems like it doesn't even really matter. It's just hammering through with a lot of speed. Going first, it's setting up great boards, even with 4 back rows this time, which was unusual, but still efficient enough to win him the game. And then all the combo decks as well, of course, the big combo boards. Going second, he's also just slicing through everything, so maybe he's also slicing through this board of Dinh-Kha Bui that he's about to set up here. But I see that the players have drawn their starting hand, so let's get into game 2 of this round 5 feature match rather, and let's see what Dinh-Kha Bui is able to put up here.
So he is revealing Sigma from hand. That is not the dream start that you want to have. You would much rather want to reveal Circular. And now he's normal summoning Diameter. So Nibiru in the hand of Anze.
Oh yeah, I also saw there is a Nibiru waiting, but then Nibiru could be negated by that, just by that Exceed summon there, yeah. Pretty much.
If Dinh-Kha has another extend in hand, which I'm not so sure of, to be honest. He is now, of course, searching for the Circular, but maybe he has to tribute the D'Alembert for its own effect to trigger the Circular.
That would be harsh for him. There is the Circular, we see it. But yeah, let's talk about it again. Why is there a negate even? Because on this card specifically, there's not even a negate printed, but we do know that there is a negate because we used one monster specifically for the XYZ summon of it, and this is Mathmech Diameter, of course. Get us the Diameter, yeah. There we have it. And if this is being used for an XYZ summon, you are actually able to just negate the first effect you want.
Or a synchro summon, and it's just for until the end of the turn.
Oh, but he has to do it
use
to extend. He has to tribute his negate, and that will hurt him so much because there's Nibiru already waiting in the hand of his opponent.
I mean, he doesn't play the combo in which you really get hurt by Nibiru, because now he's just going to search for Super Factorial. He does not play the Link Devotee comp.
True.
So that's actually okay for him. If he gets Nibiru, then he's just missing out on a few draws.
Yeah, because there's no way into Heat Soul anymore, right?
Yeah. And you have a good monster that you want to send away for Laplace from the field.
Absolutely. But let's be honest, the strength of this deck, why this deck is actually so relevant in the format, because is in the end just a trap, right? The Super Factorial is so insane because it summons you out a monster, which is basically a Trishula, a better version of Trishula even, because you can send to the graveyard one card from your opponent's side of the field and from his hand as well. So as long as he has a trap, he should be fine there. It should actually be okay. And look, Anze is actually going deep into the thinking tank here, and that should indicate to Dinh-Kha Bui already that there probably is a Nibiru waiting. And in Dinh-Kha Bui's shoes, I would very, very much have that in mind and maybe play around it a little bit. But I don't know, is that even possible at that point?
At this point, it's not really possible. I mean, you just go Splash Mage, target the Alan version, and then you are praying that your opponent doesn't nib you there. So you just get one more draw off with Heat Soul, which would be fine. He does not play Link Spider, right?
Let me check the list of Dinh-Kha Bui. I don't see a Link Spider. No, there is no Link Spider actually.
Of course, also he did not go for the common combo route. This is the time where
you have to nib him here, and he does.
And he is clever.
And I mean, Dinh-Kha Bui is not even surprised. He saw it coming because Anze kept on thinking while Dinh-Kha Bui was summoning monsters, and there is a Nibiru. Nice little YCS token now on the side of Dinh-Kha Bui. I don't know whether he's too proud about it, but there it is. Nibiru on the side of Anze, and what else is there to come for Dinh-Kha Bui? He has one additional back row at least.
We can be pretty sure that Dinh-Kha Bui has more follow-up in his hand. This is probably maybe something like Called by the Grave. I don't know if he's even playing it. Maybe he has Induction, which would not do too much, to be honest. Did he just set 5 cards? He's just thinking in draw or standby phase, because of course if you do it in draw or standby phase, you're playing around talents.
Absolutely, you do. So he instantly goes for the Super Factorial, and it will be resolving. Anze Beljan nods his head, so Dinh-Kha Bui actually is summoning 3 monsters and instantly performing an XYZ summon. Okay. And there it is.
So he is is he going to hit? Is he going to hit? He keeps the Diameter as the target. Of course, it can still Laplace can still negate Laplacian in English, if the Diameter was detached.
So we're rolling. It looks like he's resolving a danger, and he is actually just hitting a Tearlaments card there.
So he might have to negate this already, but the hand of Anze is filled with names.
Yes, he is activating the effect of his Kaleido Heart, which was discarded, of course, by a card effect there. That's not great news for Dinh-Kha Bui, and he's instantly negating the Kaleido Heart there. And we see there's already instantly also the Pearl.
He can Ash this. He maybe he might have Cyclone. I mean, if he has Cyclone, then he's going to use it now, of course. But he Ashes this, but all the names are in the hand already. He has Shaden, he has Merly, and he has Rhino Heart. So,
and you can see Anze actually shaking a little bit. He realizes he has a really good hand here. He has a really good spot, a really good shot at actually taking this game here. His hand is solid enough to actually play through quite a bit of things, even through that impermanence, I would assume. Let's see.
Wait, if he has Heaviness, then I don't think so, but it's Shaylin, discard Mayru. This is basically Exodia in this situation, and Kyle is shaking his head. Because this was the worst thing that could have happened to him.
But there was at least no hit, but the Merly was already discarded there, of course. And Dinh-Kha Bui doesn't like the situation. He's, as you said, shaking his head, not too happy with it.
Even if he has like a Crow or something, this is a perfectly fine time Thief Redoer.
Absolutely, yeah. We have 2 level 4 monsters on the board. And there's Ghost Spell as well, so he had multiple hand trap there, actually. He had the Ash Blossom, he had the Imperm, and he also had the Ghost Spell now, finally. But is it enough? As you said, there is a route for Time Thief Redoer. Let me just double check whether they even had the space to go with the Redoer. But yes, of course. I think that's pretty much a staple, right?
Time Thief Redoer. It's the best Exceeds card you can play in the entire deck. And now he also doesn't really have any follow-up.
Yeah. You said he probably has a bunch of follow-up when he ended his turn, but it was all hand traps, basically.
Yeah.
It was all hand traps, and now we are instantly using the effect of the Time Thief Redoer. So this is looking good for Anze, not gonna lie. He makes his Tearlaments deck work now, and Dinh-Kha Bui can only watch from there on. Anze, even though he's going second, really in the driver's seat here all of a sudden.
Yeah. And he's not looking too happy. I mean, Dinh-Kha has the Sigma in graveyard.
Yeah, so there is some follow-up, of course. We do go for the Kid Carlos and also for the Pearl Rhino. We have seen it before. Pearl Rhino, not only one strong effect on activation to search for a Tearlament card, but also, of course, when you are performing that fusion summon, you will be able to just pop one card on the opponent's side of the field. That's what he just did. He popped the token, he summoned the Kid Carlos. Kid Carlos will now either send or add another Tearlaments card. What would you recommend here? Just go for
does
trap?
He even play trap still? I think it looks like he sided them out, which is
reasonable.
Which is helpful for Car, because a meta noise there would be an absolute blowout, not gonna lie.
Because, I mean, pretty surely it's going back to Dinh-Kha Bui, and we've talked about it before. Like, this Mathmech deck is really, really, really good at OTKing. Like, compared to, for example, the Sprite deck. Like, this deck really doesn't struggle to seal games. Like, just summon Access Code Talker and there we go for game.
Yeah. I think you still have to play one trap, even if you go second after siding.
Yeah, maybe it was out at the bottom of the deck and we just didn't see it at first.
Yeah, but he would have searched it, I guess. It's too good. Okay, now, of course, we can't see what he's trying to search there.
That Nibiru really hurt, and I think that Nibiru also caught Dinh-Kha Bui a little bit off guard, because it's not super common, actually, for the Tearlament deck to really play hand traps, right? Usually they just play board breakers. We saw that with Herman Hansen, we saw it with Vlad in the feature match area. But Anze actually decided to side into some hand traps, which is actually pretty cool, because nobody's expecting it, so he can really capitalize on it then when nobody's expecting it. And he goes for the Millenniumized Restrict here.
Yeah. Put a card from his extra deck to his hand, which was odd.
But I mean, it's pretty obvious that it doesn't belong there, so it is easily fixable, I would say. So he has the Restrict, he has the Kid Carlos, and there's also, of course, the Redoer that's going to come back in end phase. So resource-wise, it looks pretty good for Anze here. He's definitely... He has the upper hand here.
Honestly, also board-wise, the Time Thief Redoer is going to come back, as you just said, and there is a Millenniumized Restrict. It's a tough one.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. So we are in end phase now. The Time Thief Redoer is coming back, and Dinh-Kha Bui is drawing for turn. What does he still have up his sleeve?
I think there's one comeback here.
Okay.
And the comeback would be top deck Diameter, because then you just summon a Sigma back that you probably still have engraved, and you try to attack on the Millennium Eyes. This one just gets taken by the Millennium Eyes, and then you have Diameter, so you can go into the Access Code Talker line.
So I think he activated the Sigma there, and Anze is thinking about responding. You kind of have to negate it, right? Because otherwise it's just going to run over you, Millennium Eyes Restrict.
You can also just take it when it's on the field, right? So...
But he does instantly respond. There it is. He does instantly go for the Sigma, and Dinh-Kha Bui is grabbing his graveyard. Once again, doesn't look too happy. Maybe thinking through whether he wants to respond there. Is there even a response he could have?
I mean, if there is a response for it, he doesn't play Gamma, right?
Let me double check, but I didn't see it at first in his deck list, so I would be very surprised if there would be one. Let me see. No, there's no Gamma. No Gammas inside. Nope. Not at all. So Dinh-Kha Bui really, really, really considering his options here. He only has one card in hand, so he has to decide on, am I activating the card or am I not?
If this is Diameter in hand, then he still doesn't have the Splash Mage anymore.
You're right,
but this is actually interesting, because now Anze is giving Dinh-Kha a battle phase.
Yeah, absolutely, he does. And yeah, Car is actually calculating maybe even. He wants to find out whether his opponent already has game on the board. Does he? I think he does not have game on board yet. But of course, there's still the time thief redoer, which will be able to activate its effect. And it looks like a pass to me. Yes, he passes it back over to Anze.
Ah, this hurts.
So Anze now again in the driver's seat, and he's resolving time thief redoer probably, right? I mean, you don't want to miss out on that.
You can do that in your own standby phase as well, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
And you can just use the Kid Colossus to summon back the Rhino Heart. And
But
I think that should do the trick, right?
But this looks like battle phase to me, because Dinh-Kha Bui, as we can see, is grabbing pen and paper, and we are in battle phase, I would think. So a lot of direct attacks, 3 in total there from Anze, bringing Dinh-Kha Bui's life points down drastically. And I think, yeah, we're done with battle phase, but now we also are going for Kid Color's effect, it looks like. Yeah. But, I mean, maybe they just calculated how much damage it would be. Maybe they didn't even go into the battle phase yet. They just wanted to clarify how much it would be.
Also a possibility, yeah, of course.
So we are reading time thief redoer as well, and we're using a redoer effect, banishing. Oh no, we're not even banishing.
To summon back the Rhino Heart.
Yes.
Okay.
And now Rhino Heart effect as well. But I mean, honestly, you would do all of that in main phase 1, wouldn't you? Like, you just want to go for the final swing here. I can't imagine just going for a bunch of damage but not game. And I mean, as we can see, the life points of Dinh-Kha Bui haven't changed yet, so I would assume that we are still in main phase 1 here. And Anze is just working out a plan to go for game. There's Ghost Belt, at least something, but it's not really stopping him. And there we have it, Anze Beljan with his Tearlaments stack. Actually,
and he looks so relieved.
Super relieved, and also crazy effort here, beating the absolute machine Dinh-Kha Bui 2-0 in the featured match. That honestly is quite an upset, not gonna lie. We didn't expect that, but congratulations to Anze, and once more, sheer power of the Tearlaments deck was shown. This deck is so crazy. Personally, maybe you told me before the event, of course Mathmech is going to win, but now you saw that. Are you still convinced that Mathmech is winning, or is it tier for you now?
Let's not say that I was convinced that Mathmech was winning.
You were pretty convinced to me.
I was saying that the deck has a good shot, okay? But still, the Tearlaments matchup is kind of bad, especially if you don't run the Skullmaster, which is also, by the way, a really good bridge for Small World. So I like that card a lot. And yeah, of course, the Nibiru hurt. The hand was not optimal.
But to be honest, like, the Nibiru prevented him from going into Heat Soul, so that would have been 2 more draws. So it would have been nothing crazy, to be honest. He would have had another hand trap, potentially, but besides that, would that have even been enough?
I mean, maybe another hand trap, but also maybe follow-up. Like, he could have played in the next turn.
Yeah, you're right. Probably he really needed those draws from Heat Soul. But he didn't get them, because Anze just dropped the Nibiru, was rewarded for actually playing hand traps in his side deck. How do you like the decision? Like, we talked about it.
It's great. Nibiru is such a great card, especially if people don't play around it. If you see Tearlaments, you probably think like, yeah, okay, I can safely not play around Nibiru and then not be punished. But Nibiru is such a high-impact hand trap. Such a good interaction.
Absolutely.
It just takes apart the entire board. So few cards can do that. I mean, Raigeki was forbidden forever. And now you can just do that on your opponent's turn.
It's comparable, for sure. And it's really interesting, the development of Nibiru patterns in main and side deck over the last couple of weeks. Because at the beginning, everybody was saying you would be crazy. Yeah, you would be crazy to play Nibiru, because Sprite is just so good versus Nibiru, because Gigantic Sprite just prevents Nibiru for your opponent. But I saw more and more people actually going back to Nibiru. I think you saw that as well. Like in the main deck, in the side deck, I think a lot more people are actually going back to the card, and I really like that decision.
Of course, Nibiru is always prominent in the meta game, just because once it's not that strong, people will stop playing around it, and then it's strong again. Like, of course, in some decks like Flunder, you're maybe never going to see a Nibiru sided in or something. But if you're playing Sprite and you know your opponent's playing hand traps, you might just go for Elf before you summon the Gigantic Sprite if you have a really good hand, and you protect it from Effect Veiler and Impermanence, all these targeting cards. Or you're summoning like multiple cards before that, just so you can, okay, well, red is a different thing, but Nibiru can always hit you really hard.
Yeah, and also it's super interesting because it creates an own meta game pretty much, because people are just having that Nibiru meta game, and the meta game at the moment is nobody is playing Nibiru. So if you are main decking Nibiru, then all of a sudden, and your opponent is not playing around it, boom, there we go, Nibiru all of a sudden, and then this card just slams down, and this card wins games on its own. And we saw it definitely did a big job for Anze, our winner of this featured match.
Honestly, Mathmech is a cyber stack. And cyber stacks especially have been struggling with Nibiru. Salomon Great, you could basically not play the deck for years because you were too afraid of Nibiru. Every time Nibiru was popular, you couldn't play Salomon Great. Really,
that was a joke in the community, basically, right?
Yeah.
The perfect endboard of every Salomon Great player was just a Nibiru token.
Yeah, there was no plan B, basically, if you get hit by Nibiru. Marinces had basically the same problem. We have heard really good Marinces players say, yeah, I can't play if there's a Nibiru. This is the card I'm most afraid of. You can't call it by the Graveyard. You obviously can't gamma it because you have monsters on board.
Yes.
And yeah, you can cross-out Designator, a card that we have seen not a lot of.
Not really. This card at the beginning of the format was also pretty hyped because everybody was like, Sprite is the best deck.
Yeah.
And honestly, after seeing 5 rounds of Swiss now, I would totally step away from that sentence because Tearlaments seems so strong. I'm such a believer in Tearlaments by now. Of course, Sprite is great too, and I can tell you there are a lot of good players flying under the radar so far here for our featured match, which are doing very well with Sprite
good
too.
ideas on how to deal with Tearlaments, but you really need those ideas to deal with the deck.
Absolutely. So they are having some tags specifically for that deck because it is so consistent, so good. But I would say let's hear from another Tearlament pilot why he chose the deck, why it is so good. Let's go over to the winner's interview with Ed and Anze, our winner of the round 5 featured match. Go ahead.
Hi guys, yes I am here with another one of the Tearlaments pilots. I'm joined by Anze Beljan, who's just won round 5 in quite a decisive victory. First off, congratulations. How do you feel having gone through that win? You were actually quite humble to me and said that you feel you didn't deserve it.
I mean, I didn't. I played game 1 horribly. I don't think my setup was necessarily bad. I think it's... I mean, I could have used the Kit Kalos and done a bit more on my turn, but on his turn, I think I played the game 1 horribly. Yeah.
I mean, ever humble, but you obviously have done very well to take this victory. You were against quite a tough opponent, someone who's topped regular YCSs and things, but you were in quite an advantageous matchup as well, because Mathmech does kind of struggle against your deck, so were you already prepared mentally when you saw what he was playing?
I mean, yeah, I know I have a good matchup against Mathmech. I tested even Mathmech some, even though I didn't stop what I should have. But yeah, honestly, I had no idea who he was until you mentioned it on the stage. This is my first big event. I never topped the regional. I don't know these people.
That's exciting, though. You're already doing very well into round 5, a clean sheet so far. So well done for doing that in your first in-person event, especially after a couple of years of us not having them. So before we let you go, just a quick thing, we want to talk about your deck a little bit. You actually you played a Nibiru during that, and that was one of the things that really caught your opponent off guard. That's quite unusual for a Tearlaments deck. So what made you choose that?
Honestly, like until one day before the tournament, I did not have it in my list. But a friend who I shared the room with told me, you should play Nibiru, Gamma sucks. So I put it in. The card covers pretty much every matchup except for Splight, and I have a good matchup against Splight, so I don't think I have to focus much on that. So I think Nibiru is really good and underrated. People don't expect it. It's kind of crazy. It beats Sword Soul, Mathmech, everything, yeah.
Well, you really did catch him off guard with that Nibiru, so you're completely right. Well, like I said, congratulations. You did amazingly. Good luck in your next games. I hope it continues to go well for you. Do not go anywhere, guys, because we have plenty more of the live coverage here from the Yu-Gi-Oh! European Championships live in Antwerp coming up very soon. We'll see you shortly.